Interview George Harrison, London, March 1969.
All I'm doing, I'm acting out the part of Beatle George, and, we're all acting out our own parts. And, the world is a stage and the people are the players. Shakespeare said that. And he's right, Just,
You expect another part later?
Oh, many parts. Yes, whichever.
Is that why you've come to terms with it?
Yes, because you just do whatever you can do. I mean, even if it's been a Beatle for the rest of my life, it's still only a temporary thing. And, really all we did was get born and live so many years, and
labelled.
And this is what happened. I got born seemingly to become Beatle George. But it doesn't really matter who you are or what you are, because that's only a temporary sort of tag for a limited sort of period of years.
Do you enjoy it now?
It's the same as any job, It's up and down, Life is up and down all the time. And maybe for us it goes up higher, but it comes down lower. Relativity. So, if we have a bad time, it's really bad. And if we have a good time, maybe it's really good. But it's only the same, It's relativity. So it's the same law operates for everybody.
Yes.
But they only, it's the same thing. Like they see showbiz, that thing, and all they think of is, all that money you've got, and you've got a big house and car and all that sort of thing. But the problems that come along with that, are incredible. And I can tell you, everything material that we have, every £100 we've earned, we've got £100 worth of problems to balance it.
Yes.
It's very ironical in a way, because, we've all got maybe a big house and a car and an office. But to actually get the money that you've earned is virtually impossible. It's like illegal to earn money. Well, not to earn it. It's illegal to keep the money you earn. You never give me your money. You only give me your funny paper. That's what we get, bits of paper saying how much is earned and what this and that. But you never actually get it in...
pounds, shillings and pence.
Yes.
Mm.
But I think it's another of life's problems that you never actually solve. Or it's very difficult to solve. And anyway, you've just got to... No matter how much money you've got, you can't be happy anyway. So you have to find your happiness with the problems you have, and you have to not worry too much about them. And Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
George, how did you come to record Hare Krishna?
Because the people from the Radha Krishna temple were over here since about a year. And... I got to know a couple of them because they were in and out of Apple office. And I've known about Hare Krishna mantra anyway for a number of years. They made, originally the spiritual master made a record in America, which didn't really sell well, and apparently the people ran off with the money, and but I got to know about it. And also in India, they chant those sort of things all over the place. The thing about it, Hare, the word Hare is the word that calls upon the energy that's around from the Lord, whichever Lord you like, really. But in this case, it happens to be Krishna, which is like the words that Christ said became the Christian Bible, then the words that Krishna said became the sort of Hindu Bible called the Bhagavad Gita. So it's just by merely the repetition of that. It's the same if you were just to go around chanting Christ, 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 Christ. If you say it long enough, then you build up this identification. Whatever you identify with, you become one with it. So it's really a method of becoming one with God. It's just another process. It's really the same sort of thing as meditation, but this is a thing, it has more effect, I think, or quicker effect, because music is such a powerful force. And they say God likes me when I work, but loves me when I sing. But it's really the same end as meditation. The response that comes from it is in the form of bliss. that's what I say. The more you do it, the more you don't want to stop it because it feels so nice, peaceful. I believe in the saying, if there's a God, we must see him. And I don't believe in the idea like in most churches they say, now, you're not going to see him. He's way above you. Just believe what we tell you and shut up. Well, the whole thing is a different way. It's a process of actually having that realization and direct God perception, which is the thing you can attain through chanting and through meditation. And then you don't have any questions. You don't have to ask the vicar about this because it all becomes clear with the expanded state of consciousness. But you don't get it in 5 minutes. It's something that takes a long time. So it's like to give peace a chance, or all you need is love. The thing is, you can't just stand there and say love, 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 or peace, 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 and get it. You have to have a direct process of attaining that. It's like, Christ said, put your own house in order. Maharishi said, for a forest to be green, each tree must be green. So the same, for the world to have peace, each individual must have peace, and you don't get it through society's normal channels. And that's why each individual must attend to himself and get his own peace, and that way the whole society will have peace.
George, and what about these rules? Do you support all these things that the Krishna movement support? I mean, they don't approve, for example, of alcohol and drugs, and they recommend a certain kind of food, vegetarian sort of methods.
Well, there's certain...
And no sex unless you're going to have children, right?
Non-illicit sex, which means... So there are members of this Radha Krishna temple who are married and who have children. So all that means is, not raving around, knocking off everybody, because that's then becomes a bit of discipline, because all those emotions like that, lust and greed, are emotions that have got to be curbed. I believe in being a vegetarian because meat's one of the worst things anybody can eat.
What about the other ones?
Which ones?
No alcohol or drugs.
Yeah, well, I don't drink alcohol personally because, that's one reason why I smoked pot. When I started smoking pot a few years ago, I hope they won't edit this piece out because I'm not really...
I hope they won't. I'm sure they won't. I won't let them.
Okay, the thing was that as soon as I smoked pot, I gave up alcohol because I realized the only reason I was drinking alcohol was to get high. So I got high much easier without any sickness after it. But the thing is now that to really have pure state of consciousness and good perception that is above the normal state of consciousness that we're aware of, then you must have a perfectly clear mind. So alcohol and any sort of drugs is out. But I haven't taken anything like that personally for a long time. In fact, even before I got busted, I never took it. It just happened that, that they seemed to bring it with them that day.
I see.
So, but that's a different story. Edit. Anyway, yes, I agree with that because in order to really get high, you've got to have a pure system. Your mind and body's got to be clear.
Two of the most beautiful songs on Abbey Road are from yourself, and we've been so used to Lennon-McCartney compositions, and of course, people have been commenting this week about Something and Here Comes the Sun, which are your own compositions. How did this all happen? It's so unusual for you to contribute so much to an LP.
Well, not really.
By the Beatles.
The last album we did had 4 songs of mine on, and I thought they were all right. So I thought Something and Here Comes the Sun was okay. Probably maybe a bit more commercial, but as songs, not much better than the songs on the last album. But I've been writing for a couple of years now, and there's been lots of songs I've written which I haven't actually got round to recording. So, in my own mind, I don't see what the fuss is, because I've heard these songs before and I wrote them, quite a while back. And it's really nice that people like the songs, but...
you don't look upon yourself as a late developer as regards songwriting then, because it's sort of kind of hit everyone that way,
late, early, what's late and what's early.
But you hadn't really got the reputation yet as a songwriter, had you?
I wasn't Lennon or I wasn't McCartney. And, I was me. And the only reason I started to write songs was because I thought, well, if they can write them, I can write them. You know, because really, everybody can write songs if they want to, if they have a desire to, and if they have sort of some musical knowledge and background. And then it's by writing them, the same as writing books or writing articles or painting. The more you do it, the better, or the more you can understand how to do it. And I used to just write songs. I still do. I just write a song and it just comes out however it wants to. And some of them are catchy songs, like Here Comes the Sun, and some of them aren't, you know, but to me, there's just songs, and I just write them, and some will be considered as good by maybe the masses, and some won't. But to me, they're just songs, things that are there that have to be got out.
What inspired something, for example?
Maybe Patty, probably.
Really?
I think I wrote it at the time when we were making the last double album. And it's just the first line, something in the way she moved, which has been in millions of songs. It's not a special thing, but it just seemed quite apt. And I usually get like the first few lines of lyrics and melody both at once. And then I finish the melody usually first and then have to write the words. Like there's another song I wrote when we were in India about 18 months ago, and I wrote it straight away, and the first verse I wrote just said everything I wanted to say like that, and then now I need to write a couple more verses, and I find it much more difficult. But John gave me a handy tip once, which is once you start to write a song, try and finish it straight away while you're in the mood. And I've learned from experience, because you go back to it and then you're in a whole different state of mind and it's more difficult. Sometimes it's easier, but on the whole, it's more difficult to come back to something. So I do now try and finish them straight away.
This is the first time that one of your songs has been released as a Beatles single, isn't it?
As an A-side, yeah.
As an A-side.
They blessed me with a couple of B-sides in the past, but this is the first time I've had an A-side. Big deal, eh?
Yes. And Here Comes the Sun. That sounds a more obvious one. You must have been inspired by the sun, but where were you?
The story behind that was, like Paul's song, You Never Give Me Your Money, I think, because whatever you're involved with rubs off and influences you. You Never Give Me Your Money was, I think, during all these business things that we had to go through to sort out the past. So it came out in Paul's song.
Was that written as a sort of dig, or was it written
No,
as
I
a
don't
sort
think
of...
so. I think it's just written as that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what we are experiencing, or Paul in particular. But Here Comes the Sun was the same period. We had meetings and meetings and with all this, bankers and, lawyers and all sorts of things and contracts and shares. And it was really awful because it's not the sort of thing we enjoy. And one day I didn't come into the office. I just it was like sagging off school. And I went to a friend's house in the country and it was just sunny and it was all just the release of the tension that had been building up on me. And it was just really nice sunny day. And I picked up the guitar, which was the first time I'd played the guitar for a couple of weeks because I'd been so busy. And the first thing that came out was that song. It just came. And I finished it later when I was on holiday in Sardinia.
What was your own personal response to the Abbey Road album? How do you feel it comparing it with previous
I
albums?
thought it was quite nice. On the whole, I think it's a pretty good album.
What are your own personal favourites? Which ones that
I
you
like,
really do like?
I like my favourite one is, I think, Because.
Oh, yeah.
And just because I like three-part harmony. We've never done something like that for years, I think, since a B-side. When you were red tonight, remember what I said tonight? So I like that. I like, I don't know, I like lots of them. I like Never Give Me Your Money and Golden Slumbers and things.
That's beautiful.
Paul always writes nice melodies. In fact, I don't know where he finds them half the time. It's amazing for doing that. I like Ringo's song
Yeah.
because,
Great fun.
I mean, most people say, oh, well, it's Ringo or, haha, or something. But it's great the Ringo should do it. Why shouldn't he do it? And it's just like a country and western tune anyway, and it's happy tune and it's all that. And I like what he's saying about rest our head on the seabed and all that. We could be warm beneath the storm.
So the little kids are going to love that.
Well, yeah, maybe some big kids like it. I've heard a few people already who are big kids saying that it's their favorite track on the album. So, you can't, one person may dislike certain things, somebody else likes it, which makes it difficult doing albums because we're all influenced by sort of different things. And the Beatles has always been sort of a lot of different music. It's never been one sort of bag. But the thing is that you can set a high standard and it doesn't necessarily have to be a hit. This is one thing. I don't know, the market for hits is, I just can't figure it out. I know when the Beatles put out a single, it's a hit. But I don't know if sometimes I feel if somebody else had put out the same thing, but done in their way, it might be a hit. I don't know. It's very difficult. I've really decided I haven't got a clue what's commercial and what isn't. And that's the problem, trying to decide what is and what isn't a single. I think the American idea is really good where they just put out an album and the stations over there, they have a lot of independent stations. Unlike Britain, you see, that's a problem with Britain. You've got your good old BBC, full stop. Maybe Radio Luxembourg if the weather's fine. This is the thing I don't like. It's the monopolies commission. Now, if anybody, Kodak or somebody is cleaning up the market with film, the monopolies commission, the government send them in there and say, you're not allowed to monopolize. Yet, when the government's monopolizing, who's going to send in, this commission to sort that lot out? Britain, in a way, it cuts its own throat. Just from my experience of Britain, it's, it's on every level, from your tax right down into every little speck of business. The British government's policy seems to be grab as much as you can now because maybe it's only going to last another 6 months. I know personally for me, there's no point in me going out and doing a job, doing a show or doing a TV show or anything, because in Britain, first of all, they can't afford to pay you. And whatever they do pay you is taxed so highly that it ends up that you owe them money. So, why bother working? But if my tax was cut, then I'd do 4 times as much work. I'd make 4 times as much money. They'd take less tax, but they'd make more from me. Yeah. But they cut their own throat. They do it all over the show. Every place you look in Britain, it's the same. It's like, it makes me sick sometimes. It's like, one big Coronation Street, and that's Britain. Now, in America, there's more people, and there's more good people, there's more bad people, but just generally there's more of everything, so that more things get heard, more things get done, and, it really pays.
Yeah. Would you like to see the Beatles performing on stage live again?
I don't know. I wouldn't mind playing, I like playing the guitar with people and singing a few songs and stuff. But I don't know as to going on clubs and things like that.
Yeah. You can't split, can you?
No. Well, I think it's mental. It's a mental concept. But to physically or spiritually split is impossible. Well, maybe not physically. Spiritually. It's, you can't split.
No. So that doesn't bother you.
Because if you're listening, I'm the walrus too.